This video is sponsored by Craftsman Abrasives and by
MicroJig, maker of the gripper. Work safer, work smarter.
The side pieces are going to be curved, and in order to cut those side pieces out successfully, I thought it would be best to make a template. So I print out the side pieces from my CAD file, and because the side piece is too long for the sheet of paper, I had to print out both one sheet for the left-hand side of the template and one sheet for the right side, and I just taped them together. Now I'm using a piece of 1/4 inch thick plywood, and I cut close to the line at the bandsaw, and I'm going to take it the rest of the way to the line using my belt sander. Now I'm going to use 120 grit sandpaper for the belt, and I received this sandpaper from Craftsman Abrasives. And if you'd like to check out Craftsman Abrasives, you'll see a link in the description of this video below. And now that I have the template traced out, I can cut this out at the bandsaw, staying close to the line. And now you can see why I have the mortise offset and it's not exactly in the center of the rail. With the side rails roughed out at the bandsaw, I'm going to take them the rest of the way to the line using the pattern and 2 router bits at the router table. I'm going to use a combination of a pattern bit which has the bearing underneath the cutter and a flush trim bit which has the bearing on top of the cutter. And when I'm routing out this piece using these 2 router bits, I'm going to pay close attention to the grain direction of the piece because I always want to be routing downhill or with the grain of the piece. For example, when I'm coming from this side of the piece, I want to make sure that I'm routing this way, so I'm going downhill or with the grain. And to get the other side, I'm going to have to flip the workpiece over and switch router bits to come in from the other direction. So I'm always going downhill. I printed out the top of the post from my CAD file in order to get the curve, and I took this curve and I pasted it onto a piece of 1/4 inch thick plywood, and I cut out the curve at the bandsaw. And from this, I traced out the curve on top of all of the posts, and I cut close to the line at the bandsaw, and I'll take it the rest of the way to the line using my belt sander. I have the base of the table out of the clamps, so the next thing I need to start working on is the drawer and the drawer box, which will sit on top of the base of the table. So I'm going to start on the drawer box next. So that means I need to put this somewhere in my shop where I'm not going to destroy this in the process of making the drawer box and drawer. I cut the rough width and rough length, 3 boards which are going to make up the top of the drawer box and 3 boards which will make up the bottom. And I also have 2 boards which are going to make up the sides of the drawer box. So the next thing I'm going to do is flatten one face and then plane these to thickness. I have both of the panels that are going to make up the top and bottom portion of the drawer box out of the clamps. And I still have quite a bit left to do before I can assemble the drawer box. I still need to cut it to length, miter the edges, and I need to cut a slot to receive the back of the drawer box. So I'm going to stop part 2 here, and hopefully by next time for part 3, I should have the drawer box completely assembled and maybe most of the drawer ready to go. So I hope you guys will come back next time for part 3. Be sure to check out my Amazon affiliate store, where you'll find a lot of the tools that I use in my shop. You'll also find a brief description of the tool and what I think of it. You'll find a link to my Amazon store in the description of the video.